Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Wisdom Podcast. Be sure, before we get started, to like and subscribe. Y'all don't want to miss out. Turn your notifications on. Wisdom underscore podcast. Be sure to follow on all social media. We're active. We want to hear from you guys. Let us know what you want us to talk about. However, we got my husband here, Tech Mia.
Sticky web.
Sticky Web is who he is today. All right. Okay, baby. So we're going to tell the people we're 28, we're married, we have 3 kids. How old were we when we got married?
What, 25?
25 when we got married. So most would say that's young.
Depends on the generation that you ask. My grandparents got married at the age of 20, whereas my parents got married at the age of 29.
Mm-hmm. So. Okay. So we're going to go somewhere with this conversation, right? Let's start off here. What did you think prior to even meeting me, or what did you think marriage was? What to you, what is marriage? I would say the way I viewed marriage was it's just like, if I can go back to my younger days, like I knew that I wanted to have a man in the house who led the house. Like I could see how my dad was around the house, and for me, that's who I saw as that role model for a husband figure.
That's what you have. And my Mario.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Ma'am?
my more basic thought of marriage was just like, it's just two people who are in it, like in it. Like it's a relationship amplified. And then as I got older and I started
Hold on. Let's answer this in sections.
Okay. Go ahead.
I too thought that it was something. I like what you said, a relationship amplified.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be something like when I was growing up, I always said that I would want to marry someone that would be my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so at the end of the day, it's a relationship with someone that you can consider first and foremost as a friend, but then someone that you want to grow with, someone that you just see yourself kind of what's the word I'm looking for, creating roots and then just growing outwards from there. But you two, at the end of the day, are grounded right here together.
Okay.
Like this is where we are. This is where we're gonna be. The weather may can't, or a hurricane may come and it may shake us, but at our roots, it's still us. But yeah, like growing up, that's that. And honestly, I believe that's just what I saw.
Okay.
You know,
you had an example of like steady love, like even when
it's looking grim.
We hear.
Yeah, just hey, I'm not giving up on you. I won't let you give up on me.
Okay.
So,
do you think have things been different? Do you think your outlook would have changed?
Absolutely. I feel like the way that I view marriage is nature plus nurture.
Okay. Describe that.
Because a lot of times it's nature versus nurture. And so it's like, hey, I'm hardwired like this on the inside to believe this, but the way that I was raised, or from what I've seen as I'm growing up, it's actually this, and that's versus what I'm hardwired. I myself, I feel like it's nature plus nurture in the sense that I always have felt like, okay, when I know that this is the person that I want to be with, the person that I just see myself with in the future, we're going to grow old. I'm going to call your first wrinkle before you call mine. You're going to have your first gray hair before mine, but we going to have them bitches together. Like, that's just what it is. I feel like I'm hardwired like that. That's my nature versus my nurture. My mom and it was my stepdad, but
Mm-hmm.
it it was a roller coaster before it was a train. So, and I say that because roller coasters go up, down, loop de
Yeah,
loop,
train's
back.
just one.
Yeah, but then the train is just it can go this way, and it can go this way,
Mm-hmm.
and it ain't going this way
Yeah,
because we too deep in it now. Like we fully in it.
yeah.
We in it because we put us in it. So now we going this way.
Okay,
So it was a minute before we got here, but when they got here, this is where they were.
okay,
This is what it's gonna be, and you just find happiness in that. So, and I'm not saying that let me rephrase. I don't want to say you find happiness because I don't want that to imply to the people that you kind of you have to create happiness.
mm-hmm.
But no, it's naturally
Mm-hmm.
like
Your
my
happy place.
yes, like my parents are happy together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and again, I'm not saying that it didn't come with the work. It did.
Right.
But when the work was all said and done, when you step back and you look at your project, you're proud of it.
Mm.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. So, with knowing that how you were raised play a huge part into how you viewed marriage, when you got to the age where you're an adult now, entering into long term relationships, and you're you're realizing that you could possibly want to settle down, pop the big question. What was that realization for you? Like how did you know you were ready? Not ready, so more so, but like, did your view on marriage change once you got to that spot?
So let's say the view on marriage did not necessarily change because I knew what I was looking for in
Okay.
the back of my head. Um, it was something that I'll say that I had three long term relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the third one, shit, third time's a charm. So
I
that's
was
the
I was gonna put my hand up, but we don't have our rings on right now.
word. Yeah, third time's a charm. But my first two, I will say that marriage definitely popped in my head more than once.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was not something that I truly felt compelled to
Mm-hmm.
act on. So it's it really boils down to one of those when you know.
Okay.
It's a feeling kind of
Hmm.
like you just when you find your person that you just vibrate with
Mm-hmm.
correctly, and it's like, hey, this is close, but not quite.
Okay. So it's
And
like Goldilocks and Three Bears.
sure,
You gotta try out the beds.
for lack of a
You gotta
better
try out the
term,
beds a little bit, taste the porridge, rock in the chair, test out the
did she
waters.
rock a chair? What's
She did
the
sit in the chair. One was too big.
I
One
don't
was
recall the chair. I remember
okay.
the
That's not the point.
porridge. I
That's not the
remember
point.
the bed. I remember the bears coming home, and then I remember the bears getting arrested because they were black bears and she was white. So
Rashad.
uh,
Okay.
it's sticky web, actually.
So when you finally get that feeling, right? You feel compelled, as the word you said. How did that feel for you? Like, was it an adrenaline rush? Like
No,
for
not
a
at all.
guy, what? How does that feel?
You become as a guy,
Yeah, as a guy.
you become hyper focused because it any guy will tell you that when he has a very very clear goal in mind,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, this is where I need to get
Point A, point B.
point A, point B.
Mm-hmm.
We're not taking any detours whatsoever. This is what I want to get to, and this is it's not what I want to get to. This is where I see myself being.
Mm-hmm.
When you have that clear vision,
Mm-hmm.
it ain't nothing here that's gonna stop you whatsoever. So when you have that clear vision and
Yeah.
hey, look, I'm trying to make an honest woman out of you. I know for a fact that I'm trying to put a ring on your finger because you are the person that I want. I see myself with. What you do is you take them to BJ's on Valentine's Day and then you sit them down in the big booth, but then you scoot together because the big booth is too much. I'm trying to sit next to you. You order some food that you know you ain't going to eat because you don't want to seem like a pig in front of them. And then after that, you just have the conversation. You let them know, hey, look, I'm finna do what it takes. But I genuinely don't care. But this is what I see. If you disagree, you tell me now. And if you don't tell me right now, well, then I can tell you where we're going to end up.
So that's how you knew. It wasn't like, for me, it wasn't even like, and I'm not saying you give me butterflies to this day, but it was the peace that I felt, in our relationship, which, no, it's not saying like our relationship was perfect, but knowing what you brought to my life, that was a feeling that I knew that I wanted around, to have someone that I could laugh with, talk with, do life with. But they were like my rock. Like I knew that I could be centered with them, through whatever life brought. And I was also one of those little girls who dreamt of marriage. Like I didn't have a whole like a wedding planned out in my head, but I definitely was like, I do know that I want to be married. And then I went through like those heartbreaks and stuff, and I was like, even with this, I know that that's something that I still want. Um, like to me, love was still worth it. Cool. We get here. We're there now, right? Right before we get married, what did you think? What were your expectations of what marriage would be like? If you could paint me a picture.
Sex.
Shh. You got 3 kids.
More sex.
Okay, so a lot of sex.
So much sex.
So much sex.
How much sex?
So much.
So much.
So is that why you wanted to get married, to just have a limited sex?
No, but I know that it comes with it.
Oh, it comes with it.
That's not what I was even saying. That's not even.
Okay. So aside from a lot of sex.
No, I always expected that because it's the union of two people. Um, it's a learning process, a growing process. Dating someone is not the same as being married to someone.
And you thought this way going in.
I did because I saw it.
Okay.
I saw it happen. When they dated, they was cool. They got married. Them niggas was beat. Oh my god, bro! Like I swear to God, we had pot roast every day because the way these niggas was beefing.
You were aware.
I knew that it was going to be a learning, a growing process. Because, like I said, dating is not the same as being married to someone. But you take your time to learn someone when you're dating them.
Yeah.
Cool. It changes when you get married.
Absolutely.
And so I went into it knowing, hey, we're at a great spot right now. This will shift when we get here, and then you're going to have to kind of realign with each other. Not saying that it's going to take 10 years, not saying it's going to take 1 year. But this is going to be a trial and error kind of thing.
I think it's interesting, though, that we have two different experiences with our parents. So you were well into your teenage years, or not teenage, but you were old enough to see something and form an opinion or see how it's done because they got married while you were old enough to conceptualize marriage.
They got married in 2004, so I was 9.
9, but we see a 9-year-old. Y'all smart. We were smart. We could at least, we're aware, right? Versus my parents, I think I was 2 when they got married. So for me, that's all I knew was them being married. So I never saw them outside of marriage. So I saw the challenges in home, but I didn't know the change from dating to marriage, if that makes sense. However, I did think that it was going to be easier. Now, I am very grateful that we decided to do premarital counseling, which both of us Christian, believing in God. So that is like the type of counselor that we got. But when I tell you that was the realest counselor, like homeboy up front was like, look, the day you guys say I do, the enemy is coming to attack y'all. Like he wants to know just how much y'all really saying I do, and what can I do to make y'all say I don't.
The
And then
enemy was in the chairs. I'm not gonna lie. He was like,
look, we gonna get there.
he was throwing flowers while she came down the aisle. He was like, "That's cool. I'm gonna be with you in the next 2 days." And boy, was he.
However, um, he also was really upfront. Like there are things that we do in our singleness that you cannot bring into marriage. But more so than that, you guys need to say right here, right now, what are your deal breakers? And that doesn't make you a bad person to have those boundaries. So he was like, tell him, tell her if there's something that you won't put up with, if this is something that you just do not tolerate, you need to set that expectation up front so they know. And I think that was something that we both were just like, oh, like deal break. I thought like no divorce, which that's the goal, which is why that's important. Was like set this so they know, because if no divorce is the goal, then they have to know, because there's a lot. Temptation is still real. Like it ain't like you get married and your eyes just turn off the blinders. Like your eyes still work. There's still people who don't respect that you're in a marriage. So you have to put boundaries in place, not with just each other, but I think also the outside world. And I didn't know how much the outside world would be involved in a marriage. So that for me was something that I had to learn through. So now we set our expectations of what we thought marriage would be before we got married. Now we're married. What is marriage like for you?
Exactly what I said.
What did you say?
I was right going into it. I said that we got to a good place in the relationship and that it was going to shift when we actually said I do. And that was something that we had to kind of realign with. And again, it's not going to take 1 year. It's not going to take 10 years. Well, I'm sorry, it might not take 10 years. It's not going to take 1 year, but it's something that you work towards, you strive for. And again, like I said, I was right going into it. So there was a definite shift for sure. And it was something that we both had to kind of learn. It was like almost relearning your partner. Um, and okay, these are things that not necessarily she put up with while we were while we were dating or anything, but hey, this for damn sure not gonna fly while y'all married. Mm-hmm. So hey, don't do that. Or hey, maybe you weren't really doing this and she was kind of looking for it, but like she could do without it while you guys were dating. But nah, nigga, you gonna have to do this in this relationship while you guys are married because things have changed now. Mm-hmm. Like I need that. So and it's a whole other ballgame when you got kids involved. So um like I said, going into it, I was right. You know, we got to a good spot while we were dating.
Okay, so you sound a little miserable. You good, fam?
How do I sound miserable?
I'm just saying, is there anything good?
No, I never said that I was unhappy. What the hell? No, like you said that in front of people. Like
no, I'm just making sure because I'm sure somebody will hear that and be like, well,
no, I'm saying that there was a definite shift. No, I'm not saying it. I never said it was a negative shift. But okay. I'm saying that there is a learning process here. Mm-hmm. And that's just me being a buck 50 with my married couples, with my wannabe married couples, with single. my single couples. That's just me keeping it a buck.
Yeah.
There is a shift. That's what happens. And again, like I said, I'm not saying it's bad or anything like that, but there is a shift.
Absolutely.
And so if that's not something that you're willing to sit here and adjust to,
Yeah, and
then honestly
you don't need to get married.
you're not ready for
Yeah.
marriage because
Don't get married if you're not ready to change.
at all.
Don't get married.
A lot of marriage is compromise because again, it's two personalities coming together to create one. But even in Dragon Ball Z, when we did the fusion dance, like our personalities had to come to an understanding with each other. That's what happens.
Yeah, I like the analogy. They're gonna get that one. Give me the earring. I want the earring.
Okay, it's easier.
Yeah, I like the earring.
Yeah, you didn't do the dance, right?
Oh, sorry.
You missed 2 steps.
I didn't even see no other step.
Fusion. Ha.
Oh.
We gotta say it too.
Okay. Anywho, I would definitely agree because dating, sometimes you shack up and you live together for X amount of time. Um, However, I think being married, we definitely like all of you is out for display. Like I would say there's nothing more exposing than marriage, meaning there's nothing you can hide. Like you can't hide your bad breath in the morning. I can't hide the fact that I don't like hanging up clothes. He knew that before we got married, but I'm still not changing that.
I can't poop in peace.
That's not me.
Ever.
I don't do that. That's the kids. I come in there and bother you. I don't bother you.
So, anyways,
it's not my fault you being there for 30 minutes. What you be doing on the toilet for 30 minutes?
Man, when you walking down or playing Zelda, walk out.
Get out. Come talk to me. Sit on the couch.
I'm playing Zelda.
So, like I said, there's nothing more exposing than marriage, and it's raw and it's gritty, and it gets muddy sometimes. If we're being 100, like he said, his parents, you beef.
A5
Wagyu, and there's some days where it ain't pretty. However, I think that's where marriage is different from dating too, because it's like, hey, we made this commitment.
I was just gonna say.
So that commitment was not signing a paper. That commitment was going before God and saying, this is my person. I'm going to take care of this person, and we're now one. I'm not splitting from this. I'm grinding for this the same way I grind for a work position. Like this is my person, and I'm gonna do what's necessary. But we definitely, in marriage, you have to face though. You can't just not confront it. Like he said, like there was things that we were doing when we were dating, and it was okay to just let it fly. But when it's your everyday life and your end goal is forever, like until we gray and old and wrinkly,
it's some shit that you just like.
You gotta have to. You gotta, yeah. You gotta go have that hard conversation. You gotta be real first with yourself, and then with our partner. Like we gotta be able to be like, all right, Cierra, what you're doing ain't cool. It's either hurting him, it's not what he likes, it's this, it's that.
Now, one of these days, she will have this conversation with herself about her clothes, but
yeah, for sure. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I think that's marriage. Marriage is literally hard work. If you don't want to put in the work,
you ain't ready.
You're not ready. But if you are married, I will say I think it's important, even for us, we're trying to find it now, to have that community of friends that understand where we are in life, because life is different for us now. Not only being married, but having kids. So having someone who understands you and wants your marriage to be successful, I think that's important to have in your corner. And communication has been absolutely saver for us, like in the sense of we have to be clear with what our expectations are. We have to be clear with how we like to be loved. We have to be clear with what we don't like, what we do like. What would be one piece of advice that you would give someone who's either married? Let's do this. What would you give somebody who's single?
That wants to be married, or someone that's just single?
That wants to be married.
single that wants to be married,
Mm-hmm.
I would come out the gate with kind of know what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know what you're looking for, then that means you haven't dated enough.
Mm-hmm.
That means you haven't taken the time to grow as a person. You need to you need to know what you want in a relationship. And I'm not saying that needs to be a trial and error thing. You could date somebody and then that could just be your person. Cool. But you need to know exactly what you want in a relationship because you can't get married to somebody if you don't know what you're looking for. Um, and when you know what you're looking for, that comes from, okay, I know that I want this. I know that I like this. I know that I dislike this. Um, and then you'll be in a spot where you're like, okay, cool. I think I'm ready. Let's go ahead and pull the trigger on this. Let me go ahead and take the next step. And then I'm assuming you're going to ask me what my advice is for married couples.
Yeah.
Communication is key. Communication is the number one key. You have to talk to each other, even when
Openly, like
like
don't let something happen to cause you to like openly
that.
talk.
Don't, and for damn sure, if it's nobody on the planet that you should not. I'm sorry, if it's anybody on the planet that you should not sugarcoat with, don't sugarcoat with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, be straight up. Set your expectations verbally. Set your communicate your disappointments out loud. Uh, Also, kind of hype your partner up out loud. If they're doing something that you like, that you love, that you want to see more of, hey, say
Mm-hmm.
that out loud because I'm not gonna act on it, or I'm not gonna. Let's say I do something by accident, but you so happen to, oh my god, I love that,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't tell me. If I did it by accident, I can guarantee I'm not gonna do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, you got to tell me. So
We're not mind
communicate
readers.
that.
Yeah. So like if you don't set the expectation, there is no expectation. At that point, you're just making this dream world in your head. You have to be able to look at your partner, even if it's something that's uncomfortable, even if it's something that's hard. And it may be an hour, 2, 3 long conversation, but it's necessary to keep a healthy relationship versus toxic because when you start to sit and
Bottle stuff in.
bottle stuff in, those emotions start to come out in different ways. And it's like, okay, now we're fighting 24/7 versus our communication line is open. And I think that's one thing I truly appreciate about our relationship is it's not peaches and cream 24/7, but we talk and we work through those hard areas to the point where it's like this isn't going to stop us. So how do we it's like us against the problem. There are some times where we're butting heads and it feels like it's us against each other. The end goal is to be together forever. So
At the end of the day, it's a
would you
team. Yeah,
recommend marriage?
I was gonna say at the end of the day, it's a team effort.
Absolutely.
This is your partner, so treat them as your partner.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have to do this together. And would I recommend marriage? Absolutely, 110%, absolutely. I don't know a greater decision that I've made aside from my kids, and even then, that was with the person that I married. So 110%, probably 210%. Yes, I would recommend marriage. Date until you know who you're looking for, and then when you're looking for them, go ahead and lock it down because dude, it's really only up from there, and that's just maybe keeping it a buck with you. Would you recommend marriage?
I would recommend marriage.
Why would you recommend marriage?
I didn't ask you that. However, I
But I
have.
asked you that.
No, it's cool. I recommend marriage because there is, like you said, few things greater than love. And to have a love that can last a lifetime, even when it doesn't always feel like there's love in the equation. To know that when our feelings don't match up, we're still committed to each other. But our end goal for marriage, what we see, our vision, what we want from our marriage, that we can work together hand in hand. Nobody knows me better than he knows me. Like, and I would challenge you if you say you know him better than I know him. Um, Absolutely, I would definitely recommend marriage if your intent is this has been the best time of my life, even when it's hard. Like, I wouldn't want to go through anything else with anyone else because you're my person, you know? Even when it's hard, it's still beautiful. Like, I know that we're going to do the work necessary to see that green grass again. We may got a little dry patch, but we watering our grass, you know? Um, so, absolutely. And thank you for loving me out loud and in private. And thanks for being vulnerable with our homies.
I'll be trying.
So we're 28, we're married, we got kids, we work full time, life is going, and we're not here to say you have to get married. But if you want to and you're young,
You should.
don't listen to, and women, you have to do the work to be ready. Like, don't think
Like,
that
the nails got to be done.
Okay, that's not what I was saying.
Oh,
No.
no.
No, baby.
So I shouldn't chime in here.
No. You see, I didn't chime in for the dudes. Okay. So
Okay.
so do the work. So when someone pulls up a chair to your table, you don't have all your baggage right behind you. I've done the work necessary to be ready for marriage when it gets here, but up until then, I'm still enjoying life.
We were vulnerable with you guys. Kept it a buck, kind of put it out there.
It's a lot more that goes into marriage, but y'all get a little glimpse into it.
You know what I'm saying? If you have anything to add, if you have anything to say, you have any words of encouragement for anybody that's here, please drop a comment. Let us know. We would love to talk with you in the comments. Be a part of the conversation. We're on Twitter. Let's get trending together. It'd be hot.
Hey.
Cannot stress this enough. It's been your boy. I think I said Sticky Web for this one right here.
It's your girl C.
This is not my podcast.
It's been the Wisdom Podcast. Another great episode. Y'all go ahead, like and subscribe. Turn the notifications on so y'all won't miss it when we drop every Wednesday. We'll see y'all next Wednesday.